Enzo here, team driver for Team Associated Radial and Jconcepts. Wanted to do a quick video circling back to some racing content. I know I've been doing a lot of flying. That's kind of been my thing during the summer, in the warm summer months, to enjoy the outdoors, fly some nitro, some electric. But those that have been following me for a long time know that my roots and 100% passion with RC started primarily with racing off-road. So I wanted to do a quick video going over my initial impressions on the latest two-wheel drive platform that we have with Team Associated, which is the factory team B7 kit, which is offered in the B7D dirt kit, and then the regular B7, which is the carpet car. So let's go ahead and take the body off and let's go over some of the hop-up parts and how I've outfitted my personal B7. Alright, so with my B7, we've gone ahead and starting from the back of the car, we do have the factory team Kashima shock kits. So that is the complete upgrade package that Team Associated sells, that comes with the machined shock internals, the chrome shock shafts, and then the Kashima coated shock bodies front and rear. So I do have that front and rear across the car. Also in the rear of the car, I do have the +2 B7 Ballstud mount. That is the only other hop-up that I have in terms of the rear. Also actually have the B7 aluminum diff height inserts, which you can see there. That isn't really a huge necessity. That's more so just to make sure that the height of the differential is a little bit more true with the aluminum machined insert. But as far as that, everything is pretty much standard on the rear end. As far as the transmission, this is the standard kit 5-gear transmission that comes with the B7 kit. I do have the yellow pad slipper in there. Up next, we do have the Radial Sonic Mach 4 7.0 Dirt Edition motor. This is the newest release from Radial. The Dirt Edition comes with the smaller dirt-tuned rotor, so it's a little bit smoother on the bottom end, a little bit more of a consistent power delivery, and again, just makes the power band a little bit more overall controllable for clay off-road applications. So that's the motor of choice. As far as the battery, this is the full-size Radial 6400 7.6 volt high voltage battery. This is the 27, as you guys can see right there, this is the 27382 part number for the Radial battery. I do have the 4800 low profile that I personally run in my B74.2, which is the very low profile battery that's even smaller in height than this battery. And I do plan to test that in the two-wheel drive with a battery plate underneath, just to play around with some of the CG. But this is the battery that I started running it with, and so far it's good. It has the two-wheel drive around the same weight that my 6.4 was at, if not probably, I'd say 5 to 10 grams heavier. I used to run my 6.4 at around 1550, 1552, and I have the 6.4 setup almost the same. In terms of weight, just a little bit heavier, so this car will be at around 1560, maybe a tiny bit heavier than that, 1565 or so, but it's a little bit above 1560. So for modified racing, I've found that anywhere above 1550, 1555 plus is pretty comfortable. Having that heavier car is a little bit more stable with some of the high grip racing that we do, specifically with the slick tire. And I've just found that a little bit of a heavier car is something that I'm a fan of for mod 2-wheel. So that's that for the battery. As for the speed control, this is the Radial 610R black box. Pretty standard Radial equipment there for speedo, motor, and battery setup. 610R, super smooth. Gives me really everything that I could ask for. So nothing too crazy there. As for the servo, this is my little bit of an older Radial low profile servo. This one is discontinued, as they have come out with a new model. But as you can see, it's the 1705A model. Again, this model is discontinued. This is one of the servos that came out of my 6.4. Still going strong. I'd say over 100 cycles on it. Tons of laps with my older 6.4 and now in the B7. And it's still tried and true. So Still working really well, and kind of a testament to how long the Radial electronics can last with the abuse from racing. So still running the old faithful low profile, but that's really my electronics layout on my B7. As far as front end hop-ups, I do have the factory team aluminum bell crank arms only. I do have the plastic steering rack itself. One thing I should mention is I do have the aluminum reedy servo horn. I think it's the 15.5 millimeter or so length option. As far as the kick-up block, I do have the aluminum factory team plus and minus 2.5 degree block. I know the kit comes standard with a aluminum 0 degree block, but I opted for the plus or minus 2.5. As far as carbon parts, personally, with our style of high grip racing, I am a big fan of running the carbon front arms and carbon side rails on all of my two-wheel drives. Just stiffens the car up just a little bit to make it more consistent and fight some of the traction rolling that you do get with some of the high grip indoor. So I would say those are the only two carbon parts that I put on my vehicles personally. But that's really it for hop-ups. It's just the carbon front arms, the aluminum steering arms, the carbon side rails, the Kashima coat, and then the +2 rear Ballstud mount, I would say, for the must-haves, so to speak. But that's really it for hop-up parts. Now, as far as the setup goes, believe it or not, this kit is 100% kit setup for the exception of the shock package. The shock package is what I used to run on my 6.4, was something that I personally enjoyed running, kind of suited my driving style, and something that I developed a little bit through last indoor season with the old car, which is 2x1.7, 2x1.8, 2 millimeter thick pistons with 1-up red springs, front and rear, and the shock oil at 450 and 400 CST oil. That would equate to about 32.5, 30 weight for regular associated and low C weight oil. That's pretty much been my go-to for suspension package on my old car. I did build the car with a much softer setup that they have been running on the B7, which is the 2.5 millimeter thick pistons with much lower viscosity oil, such as 27.5, 25 weight oil front and rear, which for me is something that I need to play with a little bit more, play around with combinations of springs. But my initial impressions off of it was a little bit underdampened. Our track has a little bit of characteristic to it. It does have some bumps, some braking bumps, some acceleration bumps entering and exiting the straightaway. Some of the short shoot sections that we race on also have braking bumps. So it just felt a little bit underdampened, would throw a little bit more weight to the nose of the car under braking. And I found myself playing with these link configurations to get that comfortable, as well as the front spindle height. And I just ended up honestly taking off the old shocks off of my 6.4, rebuilding them with some fresh oil and O-rings, and slapping them on with the same package that I used to run. And immediately I was going about half a second to maybe even 6 or 7 tenths quicker than the stock box shock package. Now, again, that has a lot to do with your driving style, the surface, and the overall feel that you're after. But I prefer a much more supported car, as my shock package is a little bit on the stiffer side. But I will say that the kit setup for the B7 is absolutely incredible. Again, minor changes, playing with the front and rear links, playing with the shimming that goes under the bulkhead, the little 1 millimeter and 0.5 millimeter shims that go there. The rear end is basically untouched in terms of the links. The only thing that I played with, just due to how much grip we have and not needing as much side bite, I did go up to +2 on the rear hubs, and immediately improve some of that corner speed, freeing up the rear a little bit. But overall, the B7 completely blew me away. Very impressed. I even have my old 6.4 hanging out right here. And I will say that the B7 is a dramatic improvement over the old car. Right off the rip, you do not have to chase the setup as much as you did on the old car. On the old car, there was always that compromise between a lot of rear grip, not enough corner speed, or a lot of corner speed and a lot of initial steering, and then little stability coming out of the corner. It always felt like I was chasing a little bit of a balance. whereas this car naturally brings the balance right out of the box. And you really only have to do minor changes to find that overall feel and direct feedback that you're looking for out of the car. Very impressed with what they did on the new platform. The guys at Area 51 really nailed the design and the concept on the geometries in the front and rear end on this car. And I'm really excited to continue to kind of play around with the setup and refine what we've already landed on so far once we head back to the track. So again, this is my initial impression. This car has one race day on it. The car is brand new just about. It broke in very well on the first day. A lot of the parts freed up relatively quick. The transmission got a lot quieter as the day went on. It does have a little bit of a particular sound to it, but nothing that I'm really too worried about, or nor do I care about how it sounds when it goes around the track, as long as it's doing what I need it to. But overall, very happy with the B7. So quick initial impressions, wanted to go over some of the parts that we use and the stuff that we have. I will go ahead and include the part numbers, if you guys didn't already see that as we were talking about it, to all of the parts and components that we have on the car. And definitely stay tuned to a future long-term follow-up on the Team Associated B7. So thank you guys all for watching. We will definitely be making some more content around racing as we are kicking off indoor season. So thank you all for watching, and we will catch you guys in the next one.